Hi, friends. I'm glad you've been able to join me again for another powerful life group session. And I want the word that we share today to minister to your heart and touch you so that you understand better and better who we are as a church. We are CRC, but what does that mean? Well, we've talked in our last time about the 5 I's that undergird the vision of becoming an overcoming church, we're building an overcoming church out of broken lives through the power of Jesus Christ. And what all that means and what that entails, I think is important for us. What does it actually mean to be an overcoming church? And how do you build an overcoming church? What are we going to do? I think somebody would ask, okay, that's great. We're building an overcoming church out of broken lives, but what are we going to do? And so the 5 I's helped us to kind of understand what we're going to do. Well, one thing we're going to do, we're going to intercede. We're going to pray. That's going to be important. We're going to instruct. We're going to disciple people. We're going to influence. We're going to reach the lost. We're going to impact. We're going to touch generations to come. We're going to inspire. And we're going to inspire people through powerful worship and praise, inspire them to come in to God's presence. That's who we are as a church. And what's happening with us now, and the reason I'm having this conversation with you, is I believe that we are growing into the church that we were always meant to be. That we are growing into the vision that God gave us. And that makes sense. We're nearing 30. And in Jewish times, 30 was the age they considered you to be an adult. So we are almost grown. We'll be 29 in a few weeks. We're almost grown. We've got a year and a half or so, and we'll be 30 years of age. We are coming into our own. For those of you who don't know it, Pastor Janine and I came here 29 years ago, and when we came, we had 3 kids in tow, and a car and clothes, and absolutely no money, and I had no job. I had thought that my job was going to transfer me here to an office they had in Virginia Beach, but just a couple of weeks before I left, they told me absolutely not. So I came here totally by faith in every way, trusting God to work it out. And I can remember now, sometimes our anniversaries, our 29, by remembering my son Ben, his birthday, because he's always just a year ahead of the church. Because when Lady J and CJ and Lydia and Ben and I came here, when we got here, the last thing we did at home was celebrate Ben's first birthday. And that was in June. And then after that, we got on the road and we headed to Virginia Beach, which would be our home. And now here we are 29 years later. When we got here, we didn't really have a place for church. We found a place at what was the Omni Hotel. It's the Sheraton now. We found a little room called the Claremont Room. And we started having church in there, and we started out with 21 people, and it jumped from 21 to 31 or 41 or 50. And so in a few weeks, we moved over to the Days Inn, which is in Virginia Beach on Diamond Springs Road, or it was. It has a different name now. Then after a few months there, 2-3 months, we moved back to Norfolk to the Boys Club. We stayed there for 9 or 10 months. When we got to the Boys Club, we were only maybe 3 months old. We had about 75 people with us at the time. I was totally overwhelmed by the number of people that were coming. This was way past my expectation. Church was only a couple months old. There's 75 people showing up every week. I was a 30-year-old kid, completely blown away. Well, those 75 folk over the next 9 months will become 300 people. And so by the time spring came in 1991, we had 300 folks, and we couldn't keep having church in the gymnasium. We were breaking down and setting up every week. We would bring all the equipment in. We'd break it down. We'd set it up. We'd do all that work. And so the Lord blessed us. We moved from there. Many of you know the location at Little Creek Road, where we stayed for about 7 years, from 91 to 98, until we moved into the facility that we've been in for now almost 20 years. So you can see that our church has always been changing. Change has been a part of us. But we don't see it as changing. We see it as becoming. You know, even in this building, we've been in this building for 20 years, but there was a season where we weren't even in this building, where we were out of this building at Old Dominion University, because we've always been growing into what God has called us to. As you grow into who you should be, your focus begins to change. And so is ours. We've placed now a real focus on connection. That means we communicate better. We want to connect with folk when they come. We want to make sure that when people come here that they get connected. And that means we learn to connect better even with the folks inside the church. So that's why the monthly emails, all the things that we're doing, because we don't think you can over communicate. And we've got a lot of time to make up for we didn't communicate well enough. And so now we're focusing on that connection and we're communicating better. And then we're focusing on welcoming everybody. This is who we want to be. It's a church that welcomes all. So everybody that comes in feels like you are a part of who we are. So not only are we communicating better, but we're reaching out broader. So there's a broader reach so that we can touch more lives, because that's what Jesus wants us to do, is touch more lives. And then finally, there's a focus on real love to everybody who comes in and to the Lord himself. We are learning how to love bigger. See, my thoughts are that if we will communicate better and reach out broader and love bigger, we can please God in a way that we've never pleased him before. We're still building an overcoming church out of broken lives through the power of Jesus Christ, but we're growing into that. We're becoming adult in that, mature in that. That's what God wants to do in us. We are CRC.